Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of 5 Games 5 Minutes from www.acornelectron.co.uk. Space Caverns is a simple little game from Tynesoft in which you must navigate your spacecraft through some caverns, hence the title. There's very little more to say than that. The game gives you one life only and, on death, you go right back to the base plate from which you launch. You're meant to find your way through 10 screens or so to a landing base plate. The task isn't so easy, particularly as you maintain your speed and velocity as you thrust from room to room. Particularly the first time you play, you've got no idea what you're thrusting into in the room opposite. It could be a solid brick wall, for example. The caverns themselves are a bit of a mixed bag. The first one seems good enough, but others seem to be just random triangles or mazes without a lot of thought. The final room, in which you need to get to the base plate, does have a door which you must duck under. However, your chances of surviving to see it, at least without cheating, are minimal. Verdict? Space Caverns is just about this side of okay, but it's not a game likely to set the world on fire. In the very earliest days of the Electron came Stranded, the only text adventure ever released by Superior. The instructions are beyond brief. You're simply told you need to escape from a strange planet, and after that, well, you're on your own. All moves are made with a standard verb-noun combination. You can wander around a number of initial locations, finding some objects, and a wood where you can climb a tree to make progress. The difficulty level isn't high, and what's nice about the game is that most of the locations are displayed graphically. Because all the graphics are vectors and the playing window is quite small, the pictures also don't take very long to appear. After a cursory inspection, you'll defeat the robot and make it back onto your spaceship. Then there are a few more puzzles to overcome to find your home. Let me make it clear though, the game's only noteworthy for its graphics. It's a very, very small adventure. Without graphics, I'd say it wasn't worth playing. Megaforce is a little-known game from Ian Collinson and released on the Tynesoft label. It's a straightforward shoot-'em-up with large sprites and what looks to be an infinite number of zones. You control a dual-barreled spacecraft, and it's you up against the entire cosmos until you lose all 3 of your lives or your fingers give up through repetitive strain injury. The game has got something of the X factor about it. Every zone has got the same format, but every zone also gives you something new. For example, you always have a set number of waves and then a big boss to kill at the end. But the sprites are constantly changing. The game throws everything from boomerangs to bouncing BBC bees your way. The aliens range from cowardly to kamikaze and get tougher and tougher. There's also a handy add-on to your ship that gives you 4 bullets instead of 2. Megaforce is pretty flawless, and it's amazing that it didn't catch the eye of the Acorn gaming world at the time. Mindless, but very enjoyable to play. The Mine by Walter Manzel is one of the most infuriating games you're ever likely to play. You're deep in the bowels of the earth, mining for bags of gold. Also in the earth are dragons and man-eating tomatoes. Yes, don't look at me like that, it's what the instructions say. Contact with either of them is fatal. You dispense with them either by leaving them under a falling rock or by zapping them with a neutraliser. They take quite a while to disappear though, so whilst waiting for them to die you're in danger of being picked off by one of their friends. The creatures originally seem harmless enough because the earth divides you from them. Unfortunately, they quickly get bored of pacing their own enclosures and turn into ghosts. As ghosts, they then drift towards you. Oh, and while they're ghosts, you can't kill them at all. And on top of everything else, there's a pretty tight timer ticking away at the top of the screen. The Mine isn't really a game that engages with the player. The creatures move sort of semi-randomly, meaning you're never quite sure whether it's safe to do anything. The presentation, however, is first rate, and it might appeal to those who like a challenge. Round Ones is a pretty mediocre blocks and balls clone. The idea is to progress through a number of screens, clearing them of blocks by keeping a red ball in the air. The bat is ridiculously small, only about twice as wide as the ball itself. And, to make matters worse, the very corners of it deflect the ball downwards instead of upwards. The collision detection is also off, and the backgrounds tend to obscure the moving ball. It's like the authors recognise these limitations as well, because they've added a force field which, when you hit space, temporarily makes the entire bottom of the screen into a giant bat. Frankly, this is a weird inclusion. Before the game starts, you get a resume of the characters you're going to meet in it. However, I've never encountered either the Conflictor, the Black Hole, or the Annihilator. They must be on the later levels, the ones that you're never going to reach because the whole game is too frustrating to play for more than 5 minutes.